got a little bit more insight into this wonderful woman. So let's hear from her, the woman who has broken down our good friend Tim and found, and brought us here today, Jane.
So some of you may think my dad was joking about the handicap thing and those rules. It's very true. I think on our second date I looked him in the eye and I said, by the way, I don't date guys that can't ski and don't have a handicap under 20, I'm not interested. And thankfully at the time his handicap was 18, so we breezed over that. At the moment he needs to work on it a little. I feel like I just need to pinch myself a little and realise that this is actually happening and it's real. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm standing here having a chat. It's very overwhelming to see you all here. Everyone was handpicked to attend. Obviously, Catalina, you don't have heaps of space, so Tim and I had to, I said I have to have Catalina, but didn't quite think about how many people that meant. But we fitted you all in. So thank you all for being here. So firstly, I'd just like to say thank you to the Shaw family for warmly welcoming me into your lives from the get-go. You have such a wonderful family unit that I am excited and I'm so honoured to be part of. A special thanks also to Tim's parents, who unfortunately can't be here, but they did so well to be here for the ceremony. Brian and Chris, they had such a huge effort to be here today, including a trial run, so many backup plans. I was just thrilled to be able to see. Thank you to my incredible bridesmaids. Look at them. Stand up. And then to the mother of the bride. Quickly stand up, Skin. It's been such a pleasure working with you all this year. I honestly, excluding the last couple of days, I honestly wish I could do it all over again. It was an absolute blast. It's been so much fun. Thank you to my dad, Phil, for your love and support as always, and for arranging your band to play tonight. You guys rock. And if you didn't already realise, Slide McBride is my dad's cousin. Now to my best friend and my husband, Tim. Thank you for opening up your heart to me over 5 years ago. It's been one epic journey, full of life's ups and downs, particularly in the last 12 months. It's an honour to stand here and a privilege to stand here today and as your wife. Sorry, it's a little hard to get the words out, but I'm hanging in. Tim, you are the most generous and caring person I've ever met, and I mean that from my deepest of my heart. I love your playful and competitive spirit. I couldn't imagine life without our partnership, and I'm so excited about building our future together. One of the many things that I love about you, Tim, is your endless desire to make big dreams happen. Whether it's planning our next heli skiing trip, booking a golf course in France or Vegas, or taking 3 months off to live in Aspen, who would have thought? You think big and you strive so hard to bring our big dreams to life. Alright, so I'm just going to tell you all a little story that's a little bizarre and it's a little quirky, but it's unique, and I thought I may as well share it. Some of you've heard it before, so Apologies, but it's cute. So Tim and I, as you heard in the ceremony, we hit it off at Olivia Skinner's birthday party. Woohoo! Thanks to Dave Goddard over there, who dragged Tim in. Thankfully, he was dating a girl that one week, that happened to know Olivia, and she dragged the boys in. I remember when Tim walked in, I remembered that curly hair, and I thought, hey, he's fun. I think he's a nice guy. So I think Kate Garrity and I, we walked off over to him, and I thought, you know what, let's have some fun. I made a bet, a $50 bet, that you would love Sex and the City. The girls had all seen it the night before, and I thought, hey, why not? Then we went about our business, and I thought, I actually thought, all right, Tim and I had our chit-chat, we'd kind of gone our own ways, and then at the end of the evening, Tim had ordered 30 shots along the bar for someone's 30th, and he was having a shot, and he turned to me when I was standing there with the guy I was meant to be seeing that night, and he said to me, can I get your number? And I remember at that moment going, oh God, so the guy that I brought here heard that. I really like this guy, and it's not in my heart to just be rude to this guy, but geez, I liked him. So I had a moment of it was that just a killer instinct moment where I just go, you know what, I'll see you later. I didn't say anything, I just turned my shoulder and I said, this is my number, and off. That was it. Unfortunately, the next week, I didn't hear from Tim. I gave him my number. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I was flying out on a 5-week girl trip to Croatia. Literally these two tables. And I knew in my head, I thought, well, geez, if he doesn't message me in the next fortnight, I certainly won't be thinking about him again. I'm off. I'm single. I'm going on the girls trip. Then a girlfriend called me midweek on the Wednesday and said, hey, I've got this charity event for the Sex and the City movie release. Do you want to come? And I said, you know what, I would love to come. And I made this bet with the guy on the weekend that I really liked, and maybe I should bring him along. And she goes, absolutely. And I said, yeah, his name's Tim Shaw, but I gave him my number and I don't have his number. And she goes, do you know what, I actually know him, and I'll give you his email address. So, I then got cold feet, and I said, oh, geez, that's a bit weird, a bit forward to email him and ask him on a date. Like, surely if he wants to date me, he would have messaged me by now. And she said, Jane, ask not why, but why not? And she goes, just do it. And I said, yeah, do you know what, we've got nothing to lose. So I drafted this email, and I was actually quite busy that day, and I drafted it, and then I minimised it, because I didn't have the guts to send it. I was like, oh, what do I do? So it minimised, and then I looked at it in the bottom corner of my computer for an hour, and it really bugged me. I was like, I've got so much to do today, I don't have time for this little minimisation. And I looked at it, and I just said to myself, I said to myself, I pulled up, then after an hour I said, okay, I've got to go back to work, move on. So I pulled this email up and I said to myself, okay, ask not why, but why not? And boom, I sent it. Off it went. Yeah! Alright, so I'll move the story along because it's getting a bit boring. Alright. We went and saw the movie. Unfortunately, Tim couldn't come to the Wednesday night viewing. I think he had a client event on and it just wasn't going to work. I said, well, guess what? I said, buddy, I'm flying out to Croatia, and if we don't catch up before then, I'm not sure. So he said, okay, all right, we've got Saturday night, but there's a really big rugby match on that night. And he goes, sorry, he didn't. He actually didn't tell me that, but I could sense there was a hesitation about the Saturday night. I was like, oh, gosh. Then there was sort of a standoff, and then he just did it. We did it, and the movie was happening. And so in we waltz, And given that it was one of the first releases, it was packed out. There wasn't a seat to be spare, so we had to take the front row like this. So I was like, God, what kind of guy does this? This is really good. Who comes to the Sex and the City movie, a movie theatre filled with women, on a Saturday night? Alright, here we go. After seeing the film together, we walked out and the Swans had just played. And there was no cabs anywhere because we were at Fox Studios and we were walking along, we were walking down the street back to his, well sorry, we couldn't get a cab and Tim goes, hey. Yeah, we could not get a cab anywhere, the Swans had finished. Tim goes, do you know what, I just live across the road. Let's come up for a drink and then we'll pop you in the cab later. Alright, so we walked out of Fox Studios and then we were walking down past the SCG towards Moore Park Road and Tim and I were there just walking along casually and then there were these guys that coming towards us in uniform and they were the Swans players and I was like, oh yeah, okay, here we go, this will be fun. And then before I knew it, they were like, hey, Jay, how you doing? And it was Lewis Roberts-Thompson, who we obviously knew very well from school days, and he was like, hey, how you doing? And I said, oh, hi Lewis, this is Tim. And I thought, oh God, this poor guy's getting absolutely worked. He had to go to Sex and the City movie and now I'm walking along the street and we've got all the Swans players coming up saying, hey Jane, how are you? He did well. Alright, so moving along. We crossed the road and we went up the lift into the Padua apartment and the door opened and I was standing in the door and I walked in and bang, in front of me were two paintings that Kim, who's here tonight, her sister painted. There was one big painting that said, why? And hanging next to it, there was one massive painting saying, why not? And it just blew me away. I was like, this is just crazy. Because if it hadn't have said that phrase, there's no, without a doubt, we probably wouldn't have had, I wouldn't have plucked up the courage to have ever emailed you. Alright, so that's our cute story. So I guess next week, and I guess, you know, from that point on, whenever I've had a moment in my life and I need a boost or I'm feeling nervous or I need that extra push, I certainly like take a deep breath and I go, Jane, ask not why, but why not? Of course I can do this, why not? Like, let's just give it a go. And I think you and I very much share that motto. So, and I should say, next week when I'm pointing the skis down the mountain on Tuesday, when we're at the top of the mountain in Jackson's Hole, we're about to go, I certainly will be saying that as well, because I think it's a little bit, as Charlie would say, steep and deep. All right. Okay, guys. Well, I really appreciate everyone being here. I just wanted to share a little story. Didn't want to talk for too long, and a bit longer than I thought. Tim, I think I told you, my best friend, my one true love. Thank you so much for making everything happen today, and thank you to my parents.